welcome to ABA Inside Track, the podcast that's like reading in your car, but safer. I'm your host, Robert Perry Cruz, and with me as always are my fabulous co-hosts.
Hello, Rob. It's me, Diana Perry Cruz.
Hi, Rob. It's me, Jackie McDonald.
Oh boy, everybody. I am so excited. Do you know why I'm excited?
No.
It's a certain month of the year.
It is?
It is.
Is it burr, burr, burr?
September?
Yes.
I am very excited because it is September. But why would we be excited about this on this podcast? Is it a podcast about the calendar year? No. It's a podcast about behavior analysis and behavior analytic research, where every week we pick a topic and discuss it at length, except for at the beginning of the week on the free feed or the end of the week on our patrons' early access feed, where we discuss what's coming out in the upcoming month. And for folks who've been listening to the show for more than just this episode or last year, I've listened from October 2024 to currently every September. The only topic that's on the docket is supervision.
Burr, burr, burr.
So it's Supervision September. We're going to be talking about nothing but supervisory topics and articles, and we even get a bonus book club that goes out to everybody so that we get 4 supervision hours, even though we've only got 3 weeks to do it, because that's how we work here. More bang for your buck here on ABA Inside Track. Everyone else excited about Supervision September?
I am.
Yep.
Diana, you sound excited. Wow.
No, I am. We actually have really good articles and episodes to do for this one.
Yeah, well, speaking of good articles and episodes that we'll be doing in Supervision September, because it's a great chance for people to learn something new about supervision, to, if they want to, get all their supervision CEs for the year, for their certification process. Well, you're going to get them all this month. And Diana, please tell everyone, in case they're thinking, I would love to do that, what our topics are.
Okay, I will do that. So, like Rob said, that we have 2 regular episodes and then 1 2-hour book club episode for the month of September. So we'll start things off with a regular episode. I believe this is the order they're coming out in. And that's titled Disability Affirming Supervision. We have 3 articles. I was like, is there articles on this topic? Yes, there are. And
I hope so, because we already recorded it, and I don't know what we talked about.
Well, no, in preparation, I was excited that there are articles out there, some of them from our field, some of them from others that are already thinking on this topic, and we're going to review some of that literature in this episode. The articles we'll be talking about include Providing Culturally Competent Supervision to Trainees with Disabilities in Rehabilitation Settings by Andrews, Williams, Dunn, Kummel, Pilarski, and Lund. That was published in a journal titled Rehabilitation Psychology in the year 2013. Also, Cultural Responsiveness Framework in BCBA Supervision by Gatzunas, Edwards, Diaz, Connors, and Weiss. And that was in Behavior Analysis and Practice 2022. And finally, Disability Affirming Supervision, Future Directions in Applied Behavior Analytics Supervision by Echo Jojo, and published in Behavior Analysis and Practice 2024. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yes, we have already recorded actually all of the episodes for September.
A peek behind the curtain. Usually these previews are the last thing we'll do in a month. Not always, but usually.
Really great articles. Everyone should go check those out preemptively so that you are ready to hear us discuss them. Also, in the month of September, we were excited to have a double barrel guest episode. We have Dr. Natalie Andzik and Dr. Michael Kranak join us, and they have published several articles on supervision. And so that episode is titled, What Do We Actually Know About Supervision? Which allowed us to have a fairly wide-ranging discussion with the 2 of them, and it was really enjoyable. I had a great time.
It was really nice. I had fun. They were so smart and very personable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. And they've got several articles that we talk about in that episode. Those articles include a scoping review of research on and strategies for mitigating burnout among board-certified behavior analysts by Kranak, Andzik, Jones, and Grunwald. That was in Behavior Analysis Research and Practice 2024. The softer side of supervision, recommendations when teaching and evaluating behavior analytic professionalism by Andzik and Kranak. Behavior Analysis Research and Practice 2021. And finally, a systematic review of supervision research related to board-certified behavior analysts by Kranak, Andzik, Jones, and Hall. And that was in Behavior Analysis and Practice 2023.
Mm-hmm. And sort of the source of the title and the theming really came down to the idea that we have so many think piece articles on supervision and a lot of the supervision work. Like for folks who, I don't know how many of our listeners, because we've never done a survey like this, but I can speak for the three of us. Supervision as something you needed CEs for or needed actual direct training in as a behavior analyst did not exist when we first started out in the field. That was something that we sort of all came to. And everyone sort of came to how they did supervision, how they learned supervision before that in a lot of different ways. And a lot of it did come from sort of the management literature and organizational behavior management. And how much does that work in the training of, supervise, your trainees for becoming certified as BCBAs. And the kind of crux of this episode is, hey, we've had a lot of articles where people talk about things that they have done, things that they have some data on, things that they have anecdotally seen success with. But what research do we have on how effective different supervisory practices are? So that was sort of the overarching umbrella of that episode. I think that was a lot of fun to look at some of the work that Andzik and Kranak have done that kind of is more about the surveys or the discussion or the take-homes or the research, the intervention, and really kind of get that big picture. So while I think we have some actionable steps in there, that really is kind of a nice 10,000 foot view of supervision as behavior analysts and our research mandate to use evidence-based practices. So I really, it was a lot of fun as an episode. I think we all said that, but let's say it again.
Yeah, exactly. And then finally, for the month of September, we have a book that we will be talking about. So a 2-hour episode. Actually, this one, in a weird way, has multiple guests as well.
Oh, yes.
I'll tell you about that. But the book that we're covering is Oops.
Did you forget the name of the book, Diana?
Oops, I did. No, the title of the book is Oops, 13 Management Practices That Waste Time and Money and What to Do Instead by the late, great Dr. Aubrey Daniels. We'll be reviewing that book. And we were lucky enough to get to have someone from the Aubrey Daniels Institute, Dr. Judy Agnew, to do a brief interview with Rob discussing Dr. Daniels' life and work. So we'll start things off there. Then we will move over to a more in-depth discussion of the book itself and the 13 different practices. And in that portion, we will have our book club guy, Alan Haberman, join us for that. So it's like a two-parter, but we will release it all together as one 2-hour block for your enjoyment.
Yes. And if you're saying to yourself, these book club, I don't see too many of those. Well, maybe it's because, even though we do release some old ones. Yeah, we do release them in the feed. But if you're like, I thought there were going to be even more book clubs, maybe it's because you haven't subscribed on Patreon. But for everyone else, their supervisions, these come out for everyone. So everyone will get our Supervision September book club. However, only our patrons at the $10 and up level are able to get the 2 supervision CEs for that episode for no additional charge as a thank you for being a patron. So if you're like, I've liked some of the unlocked book clubs, but I don't know if patronage is for me, well, this might be a good month to try it out, see if you get your money's worth. You get everything early, all these episodes early. You get to vote in polls, which we'll be talking about in a minute, and you get some other free CEs as well for our listener choice episodes. So again, just one way to say thanks to folks who support us there. But if you just want to, listen in on the free feed, we love that too. We just want people to get this information so you can be a better behavior analyst.
But the supervision book clubs are released on the regular feed.
Everyone's getting that one. Except if you're a patron, you get it early.
Oh.
You finish. So when everyone's like, I'm almost done getting my supervision CEs from ABA Inside Track, you could say, I already did that last week. And they'll go, how is that possible? And then you can tell them, you could do the pitch I just did. That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, I'm done.
All right. It's a big September coming up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, now that we know what's coming out in September, let's move into the errata section of the show where we talk about kind of everything else that's going on. So September means back to school here in the States, unless you live in one of the parts of the country that goes back to school in like
Now.
mid-July or early August or
It's
whatever.
all the southern states.
Yeah, it's a different schedule.
Is it a farm thing? Is it because the crop is it? I feel like everyone says that when someone's like, why do schools do that? The answer is always farming, crops. But I don't know if that's true or that's just something we've all learned to say.
They get out earlier because of the heat. So I think
really
it's
know.
a heat thing. Because
Oh.
they get out like mid-June,
Okay.
right? And they come back in August.
Yeah, I don't know that it is, though, because their schools are air conditioned
Yeah, I
and
would think
ours
it's
are
cheaper
not.
to have, municipal buildings have air conditioning.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't want to speculate.
I always thought it was heat related, but I could be wrong.
But it's hot there. It's
Yeah, I
hot.
guess.
It's
It's hot
in
always.
May. It's hot in September.
I'm
It's
assuming hot in August.
It's very hot. August is the hottest.
I wish my name was August.
So maybe it's because they do have air
you
conditioning
get it?
in August.
I don't
Wait.
think these things have been taken
Wait.
into consideration.
No.
Did you get it?
What'd you
I said, I wish my name was August.
It's a good name,
Thanks.
actually.
It is.
So everyone's heading back to school. So we had nice summers over here. We wrapped up. It was very funny because I think we took our longest. We worked very far ahead, and we took our longest break from recording. What was it, like 2 weeks straight, no recordings, which we have not done in a long, long time. And then just for fun, what did we do? 3 recordings in the last week.
Yeah, we're really...
You lose the habit a little, and then you just got to get right back into it. Get back on that horse and ride for 1,000 miles of podcast recording.
Yeah.
But we had fun. It definitely came back to us faster than it used to. I think when we first started and we take any amount of break, it'd be like, how do you do this? How do you do this job? So I'm glad to be back in a routine. How about you?
I'm not in a routine. I actually never left the routine, sadly. This has been the most I've ever worked in a summer in my entire life.
Wow.
So,
You must be doing
I'm
something
sorry.
wrong, Jack. You're supposed to do less.
I know. I'm doing way more. But that's fine. It's fine.
I like your routine. I like to keep most of my routine. My go to bed, wake up routine, I like to keep that the same
I know you do.
because I
My
like
go to bed, wake up routine.
to bed,
Go to bed and wake up routine. I do too, though, Rob.
I know.
If we lived together, nobody would be in the house in the morning. The house would be an empty cavern.
We'd be up. We got everything done by 9 in the morning.
The house would be
But don't
so...
come knocking past 6 p.m. We're all asleep.
We're all sleeping. We'd be exercised. The house would be clean by 9.
There is something about that. I always just love that idea of like, I got everything done and it's not even 11 o'clock.
I like that too. But then you die.
I've discovered that this summer I'm in too many book clubs because all I've been
Yes, you
doing
are.
is trying to read all these books for book clubs, and then I have these other books that I wanted to read
Mm-hmm.
that I've not even gotten to, and then it's like time to start over with the next round of book club books. I like the book clubs, but it has taken all of my reading time.
Yes. You need time to read a book that you're like, this is a book that's just for me and I don't care if anyone else reads it.
Well, you're doing something wrong because I have also just started another book.
I don't know. I know. I think
But
I also want to do my crochet hobby.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You have too many
Hard to do
hobbies.
both, yeah.
I don't have
guess
that
so.
many
But that's
hobbies.
that problem you run into of like when you're young, you're like, I wish I had the money to do all these exciting things because I've got nothing but time. And then you become an adult and you're like, if you're lucky, you're like, well, I have enough money to do these hobbies, but why bother? I don't have time to do any of them.
Yeah.
Or you buy all this stuff and then it just sits there.
I have
Like
so
mine.
much
Well, that's a hobby in and of itself.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
yeah, my hobby actually, I think, is secretly,
Is
I just want
buying
to have
things.
stuff.
Yes.
I want to have all the
I don't think
stuff.
that's a secret.
That's not a
It's
secret.
not a secret.
We're sitting in your room right
anyone
now.
who's done a Zoom record with us and has seen like, oh, check those shelves out. Oh, why are those? There's so much. Oh, have you used those items? No, they're part of my item. Oh, I just got a face from Diana. She's very excited about these.
Item hobby.
Luckily, my items are like, $30 a pop kind of thing. I'm not like, I have so many cars. How will I drive all these classic cars?
All right.
Well, that's that. We're coming back in. We're gonna not have as much hobby time. Although in some ways, I think as an adult, here's a pro tip: if you're a young adult, you're just becoming an adult, you actually have more time when you get into like the fall and the winter to do your hobbies because there's enough structure over every aspect of your life that you sort of find yourself carving out the time better than the summer where you might have like, I've got 2 weeks with nothing to do. And then you don't do any of your stuff. You sort of just like wander around wondering what to do with your analysis paralysis of hobbies. So that's what I find.
That's
at
never
least.
happened
I
to me.
don't know that this
No.
is true for most people.
It's not true.
It's not
Okay.
true
Well,
for
people
me.
just have lots of different lives and
Okay.
things going on, and
But
not
the
everyone
way I
has
do
the summer
things-
off, and not everyone has kids who are old enough to occupy themselves.
All right. Well,
etc.
if you are in your mid 40s and you have the same number of children as me and Diana, and you also have a behavior analyst podcast and another job, this is probably true for you. I think maybe not even then. All right. Well, speaking of parenting, I did want to bring up, because I think there's the theme in many of our supervision episodes in which we talk about sort of state of the world, because I think it's hard not to talk about state of the world, even in the context of, no, just think about the research we're discussing. And there was an article that made me think of a lot of the previous episodes we've done on positive parenting, on other parenting techniques, parenting children with ADHD. And it really ground my gears. And I just want to say, I think I was the one who started using that phrase on the show. Everyone yelled at me and said, stop using that phrase. Although Jackie and Diana, we have at least one episode, each of you this September, said grind my gears very earnestly.
I don't think I said grind my gears.
You totally said grind my gears.
Ew, gross. Gross, gross, gross.
So because we're at the end of the month when we're recording this, I want to grind my gears a little bit. And it was an article in the Wall Street Journal. There's one of the ladies who doesn't write about, or one of the reporters, I should say. I think she is female, who does it's like the lighter stories. So it's not about, how's the stocks doing? And it was on a brand of parenting that seems to be gaining popularity, which is increasingly, I do feel like most of these articles are old man yells at cloud of me, but it's FAFO parenting. Have you guys heard about this?
I have.
It's a swear word that starts with an F, around and find out, which really feels like the type of parenting that sounds kind of fun when the idea of being a parent is new to you. But if you've parented for any length of time, just kind of makes you seem like just a kind of a jerk. And I don't want to shame any parent, because parenting is hard. But the idea that everything feels like it's going to these weird extremes of, we hated gentle parenting, which also seemed like a bad way to do positive parenting too. So they're going to swing the pendulum to the idea of, if you do something as a kid and you're not learning, well, I'm going to have a negative consequence. But it's not just like the natural consequence, which everyone loves to say natural consequence. But what they really mean is, I want the worst possible consequence to happen, in the hopes that the horrible embarrassment and punishment my child goes through means they never do something again, which just on
That's
its
what
face,
this is?
yeah, you
I
pretty
don't
much
want that.
No, you pretty much are just like, oh, just kind of do stuff, and then whatever happens, happens. And I think there's something to be said for the idea of our oldest son is going to be a senior this year. And hey, you have an appointment. You have a car. Remember to get to that appointment. That if he didn't make it to the appointment and it was something that he wanted to do, not something that we were, was medically necessary or something, we would be like, it looks like you missed your appointment. We're not going to drive you there late. We're not going to stop something we're doing to get you to the thing that we've told you 50 times to go do. That feels very much just kind of a natural progression of positive parenting of we set out consequences. We talked about the expectations. We talked about the why. And at some point, the child does have to be responsible for their own behavior. But that's a very different situation than some of the kind of anecdotes that are in the article, which I now can't find. Oh, there it is. So it really has things like the idea of, there was a kid who just always is spraying his mom with a water gun, and she just got tired of it and threw him in a pond. And that'll teach him that I meant don't spray me with a water gun. Or somebody posting on Instagram and thinking, it's so funny to be like, my kid was biting me, so I bit my kid back. And that's okay.
That's old parenting, though.
Yeah, that feels like terrible parenting. And then even some there's they quote a child psychologist who's gentle parenting doesn't work. Which again, I think gentle parenting is a package term for, we just want to talk about feelings, but not actually talk about why feelings might be important or how to parent your child so much as just, we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, so we won't do anything. Which just sounds like permissive parenting.
Well, I think it's about giving the rationale for why these certain things need to happen, etc. So I don't have an issue with that.
No. And we talked about on the show that sometimes people just use those phrases and they seem to make them feel better about it. However, there's a big difference between talking about feelings and why feelings are important or why you validate a feeling. And then you have to do more than just validate a feeling. And then that's the end of it. You do have to then talk about, what are we going to do? Let's make an agreement about that. We've done a lot of episodes. I love Glenn Latham's positive parenting. I feel that is a very workable solution. I think some of the child psychologists they talk to in this article are saying it's too hard to parent. And I agree. And we'll have some book clubs and episodes coming out later this year that really do look at the idea of how hard it is to parent in our increasingly dystopian, social media AI landscape. So this is not the last time we'll probably talk about the idea of parenting. But I was just sort of shocked that this is something that people are excited about. And it just feels like one of those things of, it almost feels like parents are just feel so overwhelmed that they've gone to this crazy extreme. Crazy is not the wrong word, but this extreme of behavior, and they have enough parents online and enough algorithmically generated posts that they feel like this is an okay way to parent. And I would caution anyone who thinks like doing something that is harmful or mean to your child and thinking, well, that's just a natural consequence. Ask yourself, is that really what would happen? Like, would that happen to you? If someone bit you, would you bite them back? Like, is that a natural consequence? Or would you maybe just like be hurt and sad and like not pay attention to your child for a few minutes while you go get first aid?
Those don't sound like natural consequences.
No.
What you're describing.
No, I mean, and again, I'm not going to say, I'm sure someone will be like, I'm a FAFO parent and it's actually blah, blah, blah. Fine. If you have a definition you'd rather use, I mean, I think that's one of the problems with a lot of parenting styles is they sort of just have these umbrella terms that don't actually define what to do. But in any case, I just found that to be sort of just another example of, difficulty and everyone sort of just going to some weird extreme. And I don't know, that just does feel like kind of the norm these days. But if you're wondering what to do with parenting, we have a lot of episodes on parenting. You can still buy Glenn Latham's book. I think it still holds up as a really good model for parenting. And it can be hard. I don't use a lot of those techniques quite as well as I did for like the year after we read that book, because it takes a lot of time to sit with your children and talk about rules and expectations. I think Diana and I have a talk about appropriate use of social media that we've been putting off with our own children for the whole week. Some of it due to illness, so not completely due to not wanting to do it. But it's really hard to sit down, talk with your partner about what are fair expectations, then unified front with your children, include their feedback, and then move on, especially when they get to ages where everything is unfair and that's not fair and it should be this way. And I don't want to understand that people have different needs or at different ages. Everyone should have the exact same thing. And what I want is exactly the thing I want right now. And I understand if I complain long enough, I might get it. That's hard. Those are hard conversations. So I get a need for parents to want something that just they feel in control of. But this feels like controlling in a really creepy way. So I've not
really heard of that, what you're describing. So, I mean, I know that phrase in other contexts, but I would hope that isn't something that's going to catch on.
I don't know.
That seems like such a huge pendulum swing away from what I see as sort of the predominant parenting strategies, which are much more of the, what was the other one that you called it?
Gentle parenting?
Yeah, much more of that. And I think that has its own set of challenges. And I think parents may get frustrated with that method because it doesn't always have like a pretty clear consequence side of it that's attached to it, and you could end up accidentally reinforcing behavior you don't want to see, etc. But this method, I hope, is not going to be the pendulum swing in response to that, because it just sounds mean. Yeah. So hopefully it's more of an article that, those media outlets are doing those things in order to get, just like you just said, Rob, right? Like get big responses and big likes and dislikes or whatever on their social media platforms for writing an article like that. So maybe it's intended to be reactionary in that sense, and see if they can't build up some type of engagement on their site versus that's actually a trend, because it doesn't sound healthy for the children.
I think it's very hard to know what's a trend and what just is being magnified by certain outlets too. That
yes,
I hear you there.
Yep.
I know one thing I feel like, and I don't think this is the climate where we're gonna, as a country, want to spend money on this, but some of the principles of, say, it doesn't have to be ACT. It could be some of the basics of CBT or DBT, but really that like mindfulness as parenting and just being able to sit with uncomfortable thoughts. I think a lot of parenting comes down to, it's really hard to tell your child to do something and then have them be sad and then understand the difference between, I need to comfort them immediately, and this is just a part of certain, like, I know this is tough, and we're just going to have to all be a little sad this is how it's going, and then we're going to move on and do all the other things that we do as a family. I think that can be really tricky. And I think for both of us, we've had situations where it just feels like everything is going so bad in a conversation that no one wants to sit with that discomfort. And we're like, fine, whatever, it's done. Like, whatever it was, we're just going to move on, and we don't resolve everything. That's relatively rare, but it happens. And I could see that being true for a lot of parents, of just how uncomfortable it can be to parent, how hard it can be. Oh boy. Anyway, that was my grind my gears for the month.
Okay.
If you love this section of the show, Jackie and Diana have more coming up this month. Jackie's making a face like she's so aghast that she actually uttered I was shocked too. I almost stopped the recording to make sure you were okay.
I think I probably had a heart attack.
I forget what episode it was. It was Jackie's evil twin came and did the recording.
Oh, gross. I can't believe I said that.
All right. Well, let's see. Some other cool things we've got going on. If you're like, I don't want to hear more Grind My Gears, well, guess what? We've got coming up very shortly. I think when this posts, It should be out around when this posts. Maybe it's tomorrow. I forget where I put it on the schedule. But we have our fall listener choice poll coming out. So if you're listening to this on the Patreon feed, you have about a week to get this done. If you want to vote, if you are listening on the free feed, you have maybe like a day or so to quickly sign up. You can sign up at the free level and still should get access to this poll to sign up for one of the listener choice topics. And whichever one gets the most votes is the episode that we will do in, I want to say I think it's scheduled for the end of October or early. It's either late October or early November. I forget where it ended up on the schedule. But this fall. So we each pick a topic that just sounds like something that we think our listeners might want to learn more about. And then we put them out for you to choose. But let's talk about what 3 topics we're putting on the slate for listeners to choose this fall. Dinah, you want to go first?
Yeah, I would like to revisit a topic that we talked about in the Wayback Machine, episode 4.
Wow.
Yeah, so 300x episodes ago. Lag schedules. There's like a lot of research on lag schedules. And so we can like look at some stuff that's been published, sometime in the last 10 years. That's my topic.
All right.
My topic is transitions and looking at how best to support students transitioning from one activity to another.
Mm-hmm.
We also talked about that, but that was episode 18.
That was also 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And the topic that I wanted to throw on the slate was toe walking, which I think raises a couple issues because it was something that was, no, you shouldn't toe walk when I first started in the field. I think there's a lot more discussion that needs to go into that. And maybe everyone's had those and I missed them, but there were some recent articles on possible toe walking treatments. So I thought that might be an interesting one to come to, both from what research do we have and what does that mean broadly scope in terms of supporting, appropriate neurodivergent care. And especially when there might be differences in what is and is not a treatment goal from the clinician, the parent, other stakeholders, right? So I thought that might be an interesting one to look at as well. So we've got 3 topics. We think they all might be interesting, but do you think they're all interesting? And whether you think they're all interesting or not, only one of them will be the most interesting to the people who vote. So we'll have a link in your podcast player. You can click right on that. And if you are a patron at any level, you can vote to choose which episode we will do as which topic, we will do as a full episode later this fall. We've got a return to lag schedules after a lagging period of time since we've done it, talking about improving transitions.
I was going to make that joke later.
Oh, sorry, I blew it.
It's okay.
Save it for the episode. Write it down. Put it in the notes. And toe walking are 3 topics. All right, so that's coming up. We're going to be at the Thompson Center for Autism Conference again this September. Help me with the dates because I got them wrong every other time.
It is the 12th and 13th.
Yeah, all right.
It's the 11th and 12th.
Oh, the 11th and 12th.
You can hang out there the 13th, but no one else will be there.
I'll be there.
Oh, Jackie will still be there. All right. So it'll be 11th and 12th. We are talking. Diana, you're leading the conversation here, and we're sort of doing some little punch-up cover on the talk. But this was a topic that you had proposed for this year.
Yeah, we're going to talk about how one can create neurodiversity affirming goals.
Excellent. So kind of an extension on our supervision article, but with a more broad brush of
this is
the focus on
more
goals.
Clinically focused. Yeah.
Excellent. Very excited to be invited back. We love going to the Thompson Center. We also have Babbitt coming up in October, but that's still a little ways away. So, but you can get tickets to both, go to both. And if you're either there, you can all see us and say hi. If you're there, we'd love to say hi to you. And finally, let's wrap it up. Speaking of saying hi, let's wrap it up with a little email action.
Yeah, so I have an email from listener Amy who really loves the episodes on collaboration and ethics within a public school.
Hi, Amy.
She just listened to the episode regarding collaboration in school administration with Dr. Bruce Tenor, and she said that she cannot begin to share all the ways this resonated with her, and he was a great guest speaker. And she hopes that her administrator will implement some of these strategies within her building, and she's going to do her best to support positive climate and culture. I love that for you, Amy.
Nice.
We've gotten a lot of feedback on the episodes that are public school facing. So there's that episode with Dr. Bruce Tenor, and then there's episode 311 with John Staubitz that talked about working in public schools. And then there's episode 317, which talked about collaborating with special educators with Carolyn Beaumier. So all of those we've actually gotten really positive feedback on.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think that's really awesome.
Hey. Yeah, we have some in the list of episodes. I think we have a couple more public school episodes coming out between fall and winter. That didn't make it. I know I saw. Well, I guess some.
I don't know.
We have some that are at least tangentially related.
Okay, great. That's all.
That's it. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed listening to our preview episode and you're ready for Supervision September. Don't forget to vote on our listener choice poll, and if you're able to get to the Thompson Center, you can join us there. And you can find links to at least the poll will be in the podcast notes section of your app. Remember, you can only vote if you are a patron at patreon.com/ABA Inside Track. That will also, if you subscribe at the $5 level, get you access to the listener choice episode ahead of time, as well as a free CE. And if you subscribe at the $10 and up level, you'll be able to get all of our book clubs, not just the Supervision September book club on Oops by Aubrey Daniels, all through the year, as well as 2 CEs for all of those book clubs and no additional charge. But if you just want to join at the free feed, get everything get everything in that podcast player, well, you go right ahead. You can join there too. That should still give you access to the polls, I believe. Please let me know if it doesn't, everyone. It seems to work on my end, but it doesn't always mean that works for everyone. And I guess we'll be back next week with the first of our fun-filled supervision episodes. But until then, keep responding. Bye.
Bye.